Arsenal have beaten Wolves 2-0 at the Emirates. You're watching the Rip Roaring Reds. I'm Grev. This is Jace. And if you're new here, you know exactly what to do. Give this video a like. Please do give this channel a subscribe as we're on the road to 100 subscribers. And last but not least, please do give us your thoughts in the comments on our opening day victory. But before we get into all of that, how the devil are you on this lovely Sunday evening, Jace?
Well, it's been a lovely weekend, mate. First game in the new seat. So I thoroughly enjoyed a 2-0 victory to kick off the season. Great way to start. We had a lovely Sunday. Can't complain. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Lazy Sunday. Yeah, enjoyed Saturday. Nice to get that win under our belt and not have to worry about the other teams. Really, I do like maybe being 12:30 or 3 o'clock. At least it gives you that time to kind of just sit and chill and not have to concern yourself with the other clubs so much. But this time of the season, all that really mattered is getting those 3 points in. And, the performance doesn't matter, but the performance was pretty good. And we're going to get into all of that, I am sure. We're going to start the show, as we start every single show, with a Rip Roaring review. I had mine ready to go. Jace was thinking, umming and ahhing. Do you want me to go first, Jace, to give you some more of that vegetation time?
No.
Oh, he's ready.
I was going to go. I don't want to break tradition. So, Rip Roaring review for me. Big take is obviously the difference. This is not specifically talking about the game, even though the game was great. Talking about club level, right? This is for me the first time I've been up to club level. You've been to club level a few different games, different times when you've been with the kids or when you've been to a couple of Champions League games. I've never been to club level before. It's an interesting experience. I'm glad you get free drinks at half time. Else I'm going to be broke. But it's a different experience. I must admit, I missed the clock ends. There's that bit, the clock end, partly because of the Arsenal ultras as well. I think they do add a little bit of atmosphere, specifically, around when you're around the bar area in the warm up to the game. I think our mate who sits down there always, and we usually sit down there with him, was showing us a video of what was kicking off down there, with chanting and pints being thrown everywhere on the first game of the season. So I dare to think what it's going to be like on the final game of the season if we're in for a shot at the title. It's different, is what I will say. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. I do. I think doing the season with you here at club level, it's going to be great. We're going to have a great time. But it's definitely a contrast. A nice experience. But I'll see by the end of the season whether I'm craving to be back down in the clock end. There's no season ticket for me in the clock end. There's a season ticket for me at club
Exactly.
level.
I was going to say that. I think you would rather take guaranteed the games that you want to go to versus running your luck in the Bala in the silver and the red, as we've been doing for the last 2 years. So yeah, we'll see. But like you, different atmosphere. Luckily, we got to spend the seats together and got to throw in some chants, got to throw in some of that. I did enjoy it still, and it was a great view. It was a fantastic view of the ground. So
apart from at club level, there's one thing that I will say. Well, somewhere I'm wearing a Liverpool shirt. I don't know how the hell he got away with it. I was like, what is
he
this?
sat in front of me wearing Szoboszlai, and it's like, you're in the wrong game, fella. Like, I don't know if he was lost.
What is this? I do not know how he got away with it. It was a black shirt, and obviously there's rules around like team colours, and black's quite neutral, but I was just wrong. I was on so many levels. So I was like, that's, yeah.
You can wear your Liverpool shirt if you really want to in the next game, Jace.
I don't have a Liverpool shirt.
He doesn't have any Liverpool shirts.
I have worn a Liverpool shirt, but I just to clarify, but I do not own a Liverpool shirt.
Let's say it was for a dare. Right. What did I think in my written review? I was thinking about, what did this game tell us? We've had a few preseason games under our belt. This is the first real test of this Arsenal side, and I think it told me that we're not quite at the desired fitness levels that we needed to be. There was a bit of cramp, a bit of legginess in the team. I think I identified the areas that we probably already knew that we needed to strengthen, and that became more clear to me in the midfield, in the wingers, particularly Martinelli didn't look at it again. I think he was tenacious and driven and wanted to do all the things that Martinelli does. But again, his end product was quite lacking. And it did show who was kind of ready, who was ready at the top of their game. You know, we're going to talk about some of those players already, but there's players that feel they've already played 5 to 10 games of the season and they're at it and they're already, you know, at full speed. But the one thing that this is kind of lead me to is that the next 4 games are really important. We have Villa, Brighton, City, and Spurs. And if we come out of that with something like 10 points, that really does put us in good stead. It puts down a marker for the rest of the season. And I also think it's a really good time to play them. If everyone's still kind of working out who their best 11 is, where their fitness levels are at, you know, City played today, and we're going to talk about that a bit later. No Rodri, Kovacic playing in midfield. You know, some of that might help. Some of that might help us because I do feel that although we've got players coming back too, we've had a lot of players that Ødegaard, as an example, who hasn't had any European championships to playing, hasn't had anything else other than his mind on making sure Arsenal win the Premier League this season. So I'm not worried about those fixtures because, like I say, we've done well in those fixtures, and it's never really the top 6 that are the problem teams for Arsenal at the moment. It's something else. But Villa have been a bit of a bogey team. You've said this before, so that's probably the one that I sweat about the most.
It's next weekend away, right? I'm gonna see.
Yeah, away is also. It's also, you know, they scraped a victory at West Ham. Let's be honest.
I watched the highlights. I would say that West Ham were lucky not to concede more.
West Ham are a dark horse, Jace. Remember, I really want West Ham to do well.
Not on that performance.
No. But so I just think, Villa, Brighton, City, Spurs. If we get 10 points out of all of that, that is fantastic result, I think, for us. Let's see where we get to by the kind of mid-September, end of September time, based on those fixtures. And I think we saw enough from yesterday's game that kind of don't worry me, even with maybe what people would deem as a lack of signings.
Yeah, I mean, it's rust. I think it's rust. Rustness needs to wear off. We'll go into talking about individual performances, but I think as a whole, we got a clean sheet, which I think is a big thing. You know, David Raya, yes, he was away with Spain all the way to the end, but he didn't play. Maybe he played 1 game in the group stages, maybe. So he seems to be in good shape. We'll talk about some of his saves later on. Declan, that's a concern. We need to talk about that at the end of the game. And then Saka was superb, and we'll critique his performance in more detail. Let's just keep it calm, get the points game by game. That's what we got to do.
Agree. Right, we're going to format this next bit a little bit differently to last season. We're going to go on to what is the River on Red Stock Exchange. We're going to find out whose stocks are on the rise and who are we looking to really sell and cash in on. And so we're going to look at whose stock's on the up. I have a player in mind. I'm sure you have players in mind, Jace. Who would you say from that game that you saw, whose stock is rising, who you think is flourishing against Wolves?
So I'm not going to go with the obvious. I'll let you do the obvious. I'm going to go Havertz specifically. I've got down here 20 goals and assists this season. I think easy. I genuinely think easy. I think he's going to, first season was an excellent first season. I think after Christmas, it was some stupid stat like Haaland and a couple of other,
maybe, or like Watkins. Maybe Isaac.
Yeah, a couple of other players. He had like the highest goals assist ratio. He was scoring 1 goal every 90 minutes this year. It's just ridiculous stats for a guy who was a waste of money, 60 million down the drain. Chelsea fans laughing at us. I just love his redemption. I love his story. His strength yesterday in several different battles, I think was, I just don't think that I do not feel that he gets the plaudits and is noticed for his hard work that he puts in off the ball. The runs he makes are really intelligent. His hard work battling and his composure and movement is just excellent. And I think to top it, the header, I was out of my seat before that as soon as he made that connection, I just knew it was going in. And we were sat around the corner flag area right on the clock end at club level, and I could just see the connections that was going in. And I was out of my seat celebrating before that even happened. So an excellent performance from him. I just can't wait to see what he's going to do this season. I think he's going to prove so many critics wrong. I'm just really excited to see what he's doing. And I do not care at the moment about this kind of Arsenal need to sign a striker. We need to sign a winger. I don't, if we sign another striker, it's competition for Jesus and Havertz, great. And we let Eddie go. But I think Havertz is our starting number 9.
Yeah. I think I'm with you. We've already sent many of our apology letters in the post. He's probably got far too many to read through. I think in the future, universities and colleges and schools will be studying this man's tour de force as when he joined Arsenal, because it is an incredible story, I feel, for someone that was so languished and so downtrodden at Chelsea to get to where he is already. And I think a trophy or something would be a really nice cherry on a Havertz cake.
The history of they'll teach not just the history of Havertz, the history of the Chelsea fan and their accurate predictions.
Yeah, I mean, for me, he does it all, right? This is where and here's the thing, something that I genuinely think could be true. I think he's our most important player right now.
Maybe, yeah, he's in the mix. He's definitely in the mix. Definitely in the mix. You can't ever roll out Martin Ødegaard, I don't think, from that position, or Saka. But he's definitely in those 3. I say that, Saliba as well, but I don't think there's quite a few
important players.
I think he's forming part of that spine. That's what I will say. He's forming part of that spine. Because even if he isn't playing in the number 9, he's dropping in and playing in the 8. And
so when Jesus came on, that's exactly what he did. So yeah.
Yeah, so he is he's very important to Arteta's plan. Yeah.
Okay.
So, come on, just talk about Saka. Get on with it. I know you're going to talk about him.
I'm a motherfucking starboy. I can't sing at all, but I'll try. Saka. There was a lot of talk over some of the summer that I think he didn't win some Arsenal Twitter poll. I don't think he got player of the season. I think it was Ødegaard. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but there's a lot of commentary that kind of said that maybe the fans are turning against him. And as he came off in that game yesterday, the round of applause, the standing ovation that kid got was incredible. Bearing in mind, like I say, he got all the way to the end of the Euros, played in that final, had probably 2 weeks back maximum, not a lot of time. Goal and assist, ran the right-hand side. It's just
playing in preseason, right? Games.
Mental. Absolutely mental. You look at other clubs, you look at City, Rodri, they're not doing the things that this boy does. And I know we're in a position where we ain't got much choice. Like you say, we need a winger backup, and he is the man that has to do it. But he's such a danger in every aspect of everything that he does, everything in his game. That cut inside, we've seen it so many times, a copy and paste of a Saka goal, and then he hits it at the near post and shields that ball behind those 2 or 3 players. The goalkeeper had no chance. And it was just delicious. Yeah, I can't say any more superlatives about Saka's performances already. And he wasn't at his best. He wasn't at his best. Yet he was showing everybody else up. And I pulled some stats just because these were super interesting to me. So goals and assists in the Premier League before turning 23. Bukayo Saka is currently on 84. Cristiano Ronaldo was at 77 at this point before 23.
Well, you heard what Mikel said, right?
But you compared him to Messi, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I think that was more. Let's be
tongue in cheek.
Look, he is God to us, but Messi is big praise, and I think his point he was referring to is that you can't stop him. That's the point. Is what he's going to do. He's always going to do it, and you just can't stop him. Messi was exactly the
Iron
same.
Robin was one I always used to say about that.
Yeah,
You should never stop
exactly.
him.
So it's great praise, and just more of it. Again, goals and assists this year for Saka. What's your prediction?
Oh, 25. Easy. 25 easy. I think that he could break 30. He's incredibly important to us. He is able to do the things that not many other players of his age can do. So yeah, I can't see that being a problem. I don't think he'd even break a sweat.
Fair enough. What do you think about the substitutions in regards to taking him off? Is that just like protection? He's not, game time. Because Deck obviously came off, which we'll talk about, but that was clearly, I want to say cramp. I hope just cramp. But I'm guessing.
I think Arteta needs to learn his lesson a little bit. There is elements to where he has played Saka when we're winning 3-0. Or other results like that, where it's like, just take him off. We don't need him there. I saw when I was watching City earlier, and City were 2-0 up, 85 minutes, I think it was, or maybe something like that, and they were just messing around with the ball. They had Doku, who had sprinted the length of the pitch, was about to attack, and then realised to probably got told in his head, oh crap, I'm not supposed to be doing this right now. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and that is protecting what we have. And that is something that we probably just need to concentrate on. Don't get lackadaisical about the whole thing, but do kind of relax and rest some of those players that you need to, whether it's Declan Rice and get Jorginho on, whether it's Saka and just get a Nelson or Martinelli and rotate some of the wingers. So I think it's more just bubble wrap than anything else.
All right, okay, nice.
It was one of the stat I pulled quickly. Most assists in the Premier League before turning 23. At the top of that list is Cesc Fabregas with 59. Wayne Rooney is second with 42. Bukayo Saka is now third with 36. So a long way to go in terms of assists, but he's broken into that top three before turning 23. We're just going to start running out of statistics to talk about how good he is, which is fine. Just because he's a nice lad as well. We can just talk about that instead.
Yeah, I think he's still underrated as well. I genuinely think he's underrated. I think the Euros, he was underrated by England fans. There's so many people calling for Cole Palmer, which I get, by the way. But I think you need to find a way to play them both, because we could have done with both.
That's the problem that Southgate had, though, right? You're trying to fit all of that in. The one thing I would say about Saka as well, though, now is he's going to... I really hope he starts turning into that Bellingham-style character. Like Bellingham, his ego and his maybe bravado and his...
That's not him.
I don't know.
That's not him.
That's what the media are putting it out to be, right?
What Bellingham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you're saying it's not Saka, right?
Yeah, I'm saying it's not Saka. It's
like that. I want to see a little bit of it there. I want to see that some of that, I am the man. This is I'm running this shit.
He can tell himself that. But you're never going to see that kind of character, I think, come out in his personality in the media, because I think he is be quiet, get the job done, and toe the line as an ultimate professional. He comes across as a Paul Scholes, not a Bellingham.
I just want to see a bit, maybe like this is the wrestling fan in me. Maybe I want to see a bit of his nasty side. I want to see some of that heelish nature come out and start being a bit more.
I don't want to see it. I obviously, as a fan, as an Arsenal fan, I want to see it, but I actually don't want to see it, and I tell you why: because of the British press. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I don't want to see it. I know that's wrong. Maybe we should. I don't know. It's you get into a very political conversation, which is not where we need to go right now. But what I will say is that the one time it doesn't work, probably in an England shirt more than it'll be in an Arsenal shirt, he'll just be the scapegoat, which will be unnecessary.
But we saw it when he missed the penalty, right?
Yeah. Before the tournament. Oh, were you talking? No, the England penalty, yes, in the Euros back against Italy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Even the pre-season. Do you remember the pre-Euros friendly against Iceland? Did you see that? I don't know if we talked about that, because I don't know if we were podding then. We got England lost. Did we lose to Iceland in a pre-Euros friendly? and Saka came on for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes of the
Oh
game.
yeah, and he got all of the
and
like, every bastard for it.
Yeah, every page was
his
Saka.
picture. Yeah,
and it's like why? And it wasn't just even like the Daily Mail and the, all of the
rags.
Stupid, yeah. Like it was on like the BBC as well, and just like it's just wrong. Like at least put a player who played the 90 minutes or most of the game. Don't put a player that's only played 20 minutes. So yeah, let's move on from that. Let's move on from this subject. Sorry, I've poured downer on
it. There's one other player that I wanted to talk about whose stock I think is up, and that's David Raya. You briefly mentioned it at the top of the pod. I think he saved us 3 points today.
Yeah,
and I don't know. Sorry, that was a terrible joke as well. I should say he palmed us 3 points. No, it's fine. Go on.
No, I actually had David Raya plus 1 point. Like if you tally, I think we would have lost the game, but he definitely, we could have drawn the game. And if you like add all of those small gains up right across the season, that's plus 1 point for this season already. Some of the I think there was a save he made. I mean, I haven't seen the replay of it actually because it wasn't on the highlight reel I watched. But our mate who sat right behind the goal said that save he made in the second half, at the end of the game from Wolves. I don't know who took the shot, but there was an amazing save and he went down to his left. But yeah, I mean, we all want to talk about the header in the first half, right? Where he's going one way and he manages to get his arm out, kind of Seaman-esque, right? And just and that I mean, just the stadium just applauded that. I was probably the loudest applause I've ever heard for a save in the ground, to be honest, in the Emirates. It was a brilliant save.
Yeah. It's a save he shouldn't be making, I don't think. Like most 95% of goalkeepers are not saving that. He was, like I say, moving one direction, manages to get his hand out, and not only just get a hand to it, because in a lot of the situations you can get a hand to it, and it's just not enough. We saw Chelsea today. Their goalkeeper got. I mean, I'd say the goalkeeper's name, but there are 8 of them, I think. So I don't know which one it was. But he got a hand to it, but it was just a really weak hand, and he hit Kovacic's shot against the post, and it went in. Like you could say that Raya gets a hand to it, but he gets a strong hand that stops it from going in. And you say there was a gasp of air in the ground that kind of quickly exhaled once he saved it. And like I say, probably two points gained, rather than there's an analogy there somewhere. But he's definitely saving us points for sure. And we talked in pods previously that back in the Ramsdale Raya discourse days, there's a lot of talk about Ramsdale was good at making clutch saves, and Raya hadn't made many of them up until that point because he probably hadn't needed to because his defense was just better. Yeah. But he has made there's probably about 5 or 6 now that go on a highlight reel. And then you just add that on top of his great ball distribution, great with the ball at his feet, great at communicating, great at releasing the ball quickly, which is something that Arsenal just seem to be doing a lot more recently off restarts. Yeah, I think incredible.
Yeah. He this year, I think he'll prove he's one of the best keepers in the league. I think
he's already won the Golden Glove. He's already got one Golden Glove. Why not go get another?
Yeah, exactly. Number 2 is on its way. Just before we move off Stocks Rising, I know we've kind of moved on from Saka, but I just want to pull out one thing that I forgot to mention about him. Did you see the pace on that shot? Have you watched the highlight reel on that goal?
Yeah.
The speed and the power on that shot was ridiculous. The way it hit the net. I didn't realize how powerful it was. It was And we all anticipated that he was going to whip it right to the far corner. No. The acute angle to cut back in the other side of the goal. He's going to fool a few people this year because if he keeps doing it, no one's going to know which way he's going. But the power behind the shot was brilliant as well.
While you mentioned that, if you haven't seen it already, look up Gyökeres's goal from this weekend. Okay, there is some power behind that shot. He's actually scored 3 and 3 as well. But let's not add more fuel to the striker fire than is necessary at this point in time.
Well, let's briefly touch on it at the end, maybe, because Tony was left out of Brentford as well, which is quite interesting.
Right, and then let's go on to sell. Stocks are down. There's probably only one player that both me and you probably want to talk about. And I would say the agreement is Thomas Partey.
Yeah, he is. I actually have another player, but
okay.
We're going to talk about Partey first. Let's just talk about Partey.
All right. What did you? Well,
you know,
I've seen a lot. I know, but I've seen a lot of discourse on Twitter over the past day, and it's a bit Marmite. It's really splitting opinions. And the question I was going to ask you is: do you feel that the view of the spectator in the ground is then somewhat different to the view that you would get in your armchair watching from home? Because we came out of that game truly of the belief that he's gone. It's done. His legs are gone. He's washed. It's over. And then I look on Twitter and there's a lot of talk about he had one of the best first halves. He was incredible. He metronomically controlled the game. And I don't know if it's just bonkers from me and you that are just missing it, or there's something else that's happening here that we're not kind of too acutely aware of that we can judge on.
I mean, the eye wasn't pretty, especially in the second half for him, like in the grounds. So what we're talking about here, just for anyone listening, the amount of passes he gave away, loose balls. Like there was one ball before he'd even hit it. I was like, "Don't do that!" Oh, for fuck's sake! And it, I was so angry. And that sat with me, and it still sat with me. Yeah, I was disappointed in that performance from what I saw from him. To be honest, so we had a look, right? I think was it Le Grove? It put kind of some stats out about it. About his performance, right? And I think it was like 4 chances, 3 tackles, 3 recoveries, 89% pass completion rate. Like not a bad performance in his opinion. And I was like, so is it deceiving from the eye how good he is? And maybe that's why Arteta still trusts him, right? Because I thought Arteta had lost faith in him. I thought Arteta had lost trust in him. Like he was using Jorginho towards the end of last season. So I was very surprised to see him in the starting lineup. I thought he would start Jorginho, or he might put even Jesus up front and go Havertz Rice. I just didn't expect to see Partey. I mean, we thought he was gone at the end of last season. Even at the beginning of last season, we were like, we're not going to have him. He's going to go in January. Credit to him that he's still clearly earning Arteta's trust.
And fighting for a space in this team as well.
Yeah, I got to give him credit, and the stats say what the stats do. If I have my choice, Marino comes in, he's on the bench anyway. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm really undecided by it. All I'll say is I'm just angry. I'm just left angry from the performance I saw. The amount of balls he was giving away, not acceptable. And we've seen that in preseason. We saw that at the end of last season. And that's just something that he's not going to take. How old is he now? 31, 32? I don't know how old he is. He joined us at like 28 and he's been like 4-year contract. So he must be getting
31.
31. I don't see that as part of his game that he's going to improve. I think that he is going to be on the downside. I think it's going to get worse. As you keep mentioning, his legs are gone. He's a great squad player to have on the bench, but he cannot be our starting midfielder.
Yeah. I would say to your point where he's maybe not, he hasn't got up to the speed of the game yet. You said he made that mistake a few times in preseason. One thing I think we noted in the ground quite a lot was that he just seems to feel like he's got more time on the ball than he has. He'll take a touch, he'll try and turn. And then, admittedly, I think you said this to me. Wolves were really well drilled yesterday. They pressed us really high. They actually made quite often, I think we were forced, but maybe this is tactical, that we did long balls. We did a lot more goal kicks that were actually to up the pitch rather than the short pass that we commonly play out from the back. And that was partly due to how Wolves pressed us. And they did press Partey into mistakes. Maybe he just didn't get to the pace of the game. But like I said, yeah, he just feels to me physically not up to it anymore. His pace is totally gone. His legs just aren't there. He can't drive. The thing he's a decent line breaking pass. That is the one thing that we all know Partey can do. But I think we saw from even yesterday, Zinchenko can do that and is very good at doing that. I think he's better than Partey at doing it. Ødegaard can obviously do it. Do we need that type of player as much anymore? To be seen. And when Marino does come in, hopefully, and does probably go into that position, I think he carries the ball better, Marino, from what I've seen. He's more physically present. He's more strong. Those are the attributes that kind of Arteta wants to win those midfield duels and to carry the ball and to make those passes. Maybe it's just a matter of time.
And when you've got Calafiore and Timber, right, who can invert from the wing back, they're strong. You know, Calafiore looks like he's got a great ball in him as well.
Yeah.
He's a squad player. I don't see him as an automatic first choice. I will take the point that yesterday he clearly, from an analytical perspective, had a good game, but from the eye, it didn't look good to me.
Hey, I've scored plenty of goals on a Monday or a Thursday night, Jace. My stats will say that I'm an incredible player. We all know it's not true.
Pace 99, right? Pace 99.
Something like that. I think it's more 69 than 99. You had another player on your stock down. Yeah, this is a surprise to me. So I'm going to be like, oh, tell me, Jace, who is it?
We talked about in the last podcast, right? I talked about his game against Lyon. We talked about the lack of quality at the end product from him. So I'm going to talk about Gabby Martinelli. I may be criticized here for saying I'm being overcritical, but
Critical being overcritical?
I don't think. I want him to prove me wrong so badly. That's what I want. I don't want him, I want him to prove me wrong. But I saw a few tweets. Everyone said our left side was superb. That's what a few people said. Zinni had a good game. And I think working with Deck on that left side, that was working seamlessly. But the problem with that left side is then the end product. You can have all the build up, but did he get an assist? No. Did he do any? He's now cutting in consistently on his right, on the left, whereas he always used to go to the byline and run round the defender and then cut back. He's not doing that anyway, half as much in the last two games compared to what he used to. He's just composure. I don't know. He's rushing shots, or it's just the end product isn't there. Like the finish against Lyon, he didn't take. His first touch hasn't been that great. Maybe I feel always really harsh. I think I said the same thing last podcast, criticizing him. He feels like I'm criticizing a little child, right? But I want him to be good. I want him to be better. But at the moment, his stock is down, and he needs to prove us wrong with some goals and some assists and some big performances. He's also on over 150k a week or something like that, right? So he's on like a starting first team wage. We need goals and assists this season. 15 plus from him, definitely. Like nothing less in a starting lineup when you're competing for the title is acceptable. So he's got a big season ahead, and he needs to prove me wrong. But at the moment, stock's down. He needs to go up.
I agree with that. Yeah, I would say that the dimension of our left-hand side being superb, I still feel it's very dysfunctional. There was a time last season, early last season, and the season before, those triangles, particularly when Xhaka was playing as that left eight, were much better. There was much better end product from Gabby. Like I say, getting to that byline, cutting it back inside, getting a lot of assists that way and cutting across goal, getting those passes. Maybe he just lacks confidence right now. I feel there's an element of that. It's, when Havertz first came in and he got given that penalty, and that's what brought him back to life. Maybe there's some moment of like that needs to happen for Martinelli to bring him back.
I think he just needs a goal. He needs a couple of goals, definitely, urgently as well. Yeah. I want to see him score. I want to see that Martinelli had all of that confidence that came into the side as a kid. The one that sprinted through the middle of Chelsea. Yeah. I haven't seen that electric Martinelli in a long time. I think Jesus' first season when Jesus, before he got injured, was on it, and the connection with Xhaka and Martinelli. That was the last time I really remember seeing like a Martinelli where we were like, whoa, this is like 4 million for him was a bargain. You talked about comparing him to be a better player than Luis Diaz. That was the last time I remember that. Last season wasn't a
while
good one.
ago.
Yeah.
All right, so stock's down. I'm opening the floor up to honourable mentions because I think there's a player that maybe you've not seen enough of yet, Jace, to kind of say whether you feel their stock is up or down. But we made a little bit of a conversation in the ground about this player. I'm talking about Jurrien Timber because Jace was all flush with rosy red cheeks in discussing his new favourite player. What did you he only put a bit of a brief cameo in, but there's you were happy with what you saw, right?
Yeah, until the bit he gave the ball away. He did that amazing turn.
I
love Jurrien Timber. And then
I take it back.
Instantly, as I said it, you looked at me and you gave him the ball away, and Wolves almost capitalised on that chance.
Yeah. I gave you the Paddock death glare.
Yeah. Look, he's got so much potential. I genuinely think the left back position competition is going to be fierce this season. I think Zinni did have a good game. I didn't see that game. I accept Zinni had a good game, though for me, to the eye, again, it wasn't so obvious. I specifically sometimes focus on Zinni's poorer things, like the things he doesn't do so well, and critique that, rather than maybe looking at the positive side, and that's my negative on me. But I definitely think that it's going to be a very spicy competition for left back. Because I think somewhere we have to fit Jurrien Timber in if he continues to perform at the level he can. He's just too good a player not to be in the starting lineup. Calafiori looks immense as well. Like, that competition is going to be hot. Like, and then Zinni as well. Obviously, you're going to have Tomiyasu come back. Some of these boys have got to play centre back fill in as well. Maybe right back fill in.
Well, do you think we'll ever get to see Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori?
No, I don't think you'll ever see that. Because who's playing right back out of that?
Yeah, I was going to say Timber.
Oh, okay, yeah, of course. Yeah, so what, Calafiori left back? Yeah, that's possible. I mean, to be for that.
I'm really interested to see that because I think we don't really have the left hand side. We have all of these inversion players, and the right hand side we have your more strong defending right back. Very little overlap.
Yeah,
that might the dynamic might be very different.
For that, Ben White has to get injured.
You reckon that's what it'll take for him to be moved out of that position?
100%. Ben White just doesn't break, does he?
No.
I mean, he might need a rest. Huh?
Like me. I just don't need a rest. Just keep playing all the time.
Oh, dear. No comment on that.
Thanks.
I'm excited to see him this year. I think he deserves an honourable mention, and I can't wait to see him start a game.
Nice. I had one, but I didn't. I'm not going to go into any detail here because there's no point. Run out of things to say about Martin Ødegaard. The only thing I will say, how he continues to press. Obviously, like I say, he hasn't had much of a summer of playing, and thus he had a really good rest, really fit. He looks incredibly hungry. He looks like he hasn't stopped. And his ability to chase down the ball, to press really high, almost probably snatched it from Jose Sa a couple of times in our press. I think it was incredible. And I'm just really excited to see what he does this season, because although we both, me and you and Arsenal fans collectively will love Martin Ødegaard and think he's probably the best midfielder in the league, statistically, that was Bruno Fernandes last season. And exactly. I can't stand for it. And I need Ødegaard to not only just be passing the eye test, but passing the statistical test as well.
Is that because you just don't want to take any more shit from Man United fans telling you Bruno Fernandes is better than Martin Ødegaard?
Well, to be honest, I put them as third, remember, on our last pod. So I kind of probably need a bit of both. So we'll see. Right, we used to close the show with the parking lot where we'd bring other things and talk about other bits and pieces, but we're going to switch that up a little bit. We're going to move on to a bit of rival watch. The almost all the Barclays games have been in the rear window, apart from Tottenham and Leicester tomorrow night. Take your pick of the bunch, Jace. You've watched a bit of the highlights. You've run some of it back. Where does your attention want to go?
Well, Everton Brighton was quite fun to watch the highlights. Just because I said I changed my mind to Everton going down right in the last podcast.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, screw it. Everton are going to go down this year. Finally, it's going to happen. Well, they were clearly listening to me because they were absolutely shocking. Brighton looked good. And the reason I actually want to talk about this more rather than a United or a Chelsea City was on earlier or the Liverpool game is because Matoma's back and he looked good. And we need a left winger maybe or another winger. And I'm just
like, another one from Brighton.
Yeah, I mean we clearly have some kind of open account with them. They spent an 884 million or something stupid this summer. So, would you like I don't know, I'll go 60 on Matoma?
Yeah. I mean, I maybe they could feed, but yeah, I think.
Or they can 40 million and Reece Nelson.
They'd probably be like, we'll take the 40 million, you can keep Reece Nelson.
That's a bit harsh on Reece. I mean, Danny Welbeck made it there. I think Reece can.
Hey, and he just scored and assisted this weekend, Jay. So what are you talking about?
He did. Yeah. I just I thought it was a very interesting game. I love watching Brighton play football. I mean, obviously they've had several different managers. They pick good managers. This guy,
and they pick good players too. There's some of their players they pluck Venezuelans or like Colombians or some random people from like obscurity, and they just go like, "Plop, here you go." I'm just going to whack you into this team, and you're going to be like, "You played in the Premier League the whole time." It's quite incredible.
They've just got a very well run organization, and as long as they're not a bogey team from us, I quite like Brighton. I like watching them. I think they play great football. Yeah, it was a good game. Are you gonna talk about any of the United game or the City Chelsea game?
I can talk a little bit about both. I did watch the City game earlier. Watched all of that. Like I said, I'm still with this feeling that I can't name many Chelsea players. I don't know if it feels crazy to me, but I just don't. There's some of they'll announce a lineup, and I'm like, who is that person? I don't know. It baffles me.
I think their starting lineup's pretty. This is the thing that's interesting for me with Chelsea. They're buying all these players, but I don't think 60 to 70% of them are going to touch their starting lineup. I just think that this is what they are doing is wrong, and the rules need to be changed to stop them doing this. Because I looked at their lineup and I was like, so they got Fofana at the back. I think is it Gusto? He's played a lot last year.
So funnily enough, though, so Gusto, for my money, looked one of their best players.
Yeah, he did.
He was really, really good. Cucurella was actually pretty good, other than being absolutely bodied by Haaland. And after giving it the whole drinking Estrella and Haaland should be scared, to then have Haaland just bully him and score was quite fun.
The Cucurella honeymoon is over, by the way. Like he's back. Like he'll be back to his usual.
You reckon? He looked good, honestly. Other than the point where, like I say, he did get absolutely spanked by Haaland. He was strong. He was clearly fit.
I saw him get done by Savinho in the first half a few times. I was like, he's back. He's back.
Yeah,
he was returning.
I mean, I would say there's other even part of the. So there's a couple of things I want to mention. Like their midfield is pretty absent, although they got Lavia, Caicedo, and Enzo Fernandez. It's not a bad midfield, but they just feel pretty lightweight and not. When one of them got taken off in the second half, like Kovacic just waltzed through their midfield and scored a banger. Like they weren't even there as well. He literally just walked through them. Kovacic is not a fast player, and he just literally just waltzed through their midfield.
Do you think that they were missing probably a central midfielder, probably an English one, someone that knows the league a bit well, has probably been proven, done quite well?
No, I reckon he's holidaying in Madrid somewhere. I think he was.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, banned some training, maybe training with under 21s. What a joke that club is.
Well, I know, but even so let me talk about City quickly. Doku, for my money, there needs to be some conversations had, because in a very similar vein to Martinelli, he can dribble, he can take players on, but his end product is nothing, is literally nothing, and he just looks like a one-trick pony, I think, so far.
He looked good at the beginning of last season when he joined. I think I was quite excited, and
You were.
I remember, yeah. And if he's on the left, I think he's good because he'll cut in. He's not.
He played
good
on the left
right.
today. He played on the left, and Silvino played on the right, I think.
Oh yeah,
Silvino came off at half time because Foden replaced him at half time.
So I saw Silvino on the right, but also Doku at one point was on the right, and he cut in like Saka did, and he absolutely shanked it. Like he clearly can't use his left foot. Yeah, I'm not sure about Doku. I mean, put it this way, it's good for us if he's crap.
Oh, of course, yeah. But like, and then, I mean, there's always one other thing I wanted to mention. Haaland can spend an entire first 20 minutes being completely absent, not doing anything. And then the moment that he is needed, he just takes on 3 players and scores a goal. And that is the true make of a world-class striker. There's a lot of strikers. Harry Kane used to do this quite often, where he's not involved in the game and he would try and bring himself into the game by dropping deep, passing the ball, playing as a 10, trying to just get touches and passes and trying to bring himself. Haaland rarely kind of does that, and he just waits for his moment, knowing that it will come. As a striker, you will get a chance. Ian Wright used to say this all the time, and he just does it. And it's so frustrating because, like I say, imagine the kind of things that we could do with a striker of that caliber. Imagine.
I think he'd fit in actually quite well because we want a tall striker with the way we're playing.
Oh, you mean what? You said I saw this TikTok earlier today that basically Arsenal. There were some guys pretending to be Arsenal and they were going to walk it into the goal, and they got to the goal line. They said, "Oh, hold on, mate, sorry. Do you mind just kicking that out of play so we can take a corner? Because we just like scoring from corners." And he's like, he goes, "Yeah, we just like set pieces. Can you just boot it out there?" And I thought it was just quite very reminiscent because we are. It wasn't maybe just set pieces, but even from yesterday, you saw we are crossing the ball significantly more than I think we ever have before.
Yeah.
Because we know, well, even in the future, when you've got Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, and the likes of Havertz, Rice, someone is heading that ball. And actually, Rice's corners, I think we mentioned this in the ground. Rice's corners, yeah, they just hit the mark every single time. When you've got that kind of delivery and those kind of players, you're going to score. So yeah, that was good. Nothing really to say about Man United other than it was incredibly boring. And they were jammy. Basically,
let me say it.
You just wanted to say it. No, sorry, I stole it from you.
Wind up the United fans.
But it was jammy. It is jammy. And actually, they should. To be honest, though, they should have scored a second. I don't know if you've seen Garnacho's miss.
Yeah, I did.
Oh my days! How? You could put that away, Jace. I could put that away. I reckon my 8-year-old son, who doesn't really like football, could put it away. But Garnacho wasn't able to.
Yeah. Well, Fulham didn't take their chances either, though. They had chances.
Oh, there was one, incredibly infuriating when they had that through ball. I can't remember who was playing it now. Emil Smith-Rowe was already off the pitch. I stopped caring after they took off Smith-Rowe. But yeah, you're right. I suppose if Fulham had capitalised, there might have been a different scoreline, but they didn't. And Man United were the ones top of the league for one night only. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I think we'll see. United's going to be an interesting one. I mean, you had them third. I still think fifth. I think Liverpool are going to be consistent from last year.
They were playing Ipswich, Jason. They were playing Ipswich.
All right. Well, we have to wait.
I think Man United, I did say, if they get a bit of luck, and there was a little bit of that during the game on Friday. So,
yeah, I'd say they were jammy, lucky.
Yeah.
Before we go, can we just talk about transfers?
What is there to say, Jace? Other than Marino's done, and then that might be our business done, maybe.
Well, if I said striker or winger, who do we want?
Well, we both agree. Nico Williams is the winger we want. That's probably not going to be the one that happens.
That's not happening. That's not happening at all. Even next
year.
Then
what other options? What other options are there?
Well, put a bid in for Matoma.
It's just they're not going to sell him.
Did you see the I mean, there's Mudryk, obviously Chelsea. Did he come on today for Chelsea?
I didn't see him come on. I don't think so.
Did you see? Is it? I'm going to murder the name now. Madeke.
Midweke, yeah.
Yeah, like apparently we inquired about him as well.
Mudryk was on the bench as a new sub, and so was Midweke. I'll tell you one thing, actually, I didn't mention about that game. Jackson is an awful striker. An absolutely awful striker. He couldn't even finish my dinner. Oh, he'd probably have a hard time finishing my dinner because I'd probably get it before him.
Yeah, I was about to
say. But he's so poor. So poor. He just gets ball lost on his feet. And, through many years of Chelsea having some incredible strikers, like proper nines at their club. Like, yeah, it's just quite incredible to see. Well, it's not. I love to see it, obviously. Strikers, like I said, Gyökeres he's still scoring for Lisbon. I'm assuming that's still an option. Like I genuinely believe, and I think I said this to you before, I think it's a powder dry situation for us.
I just have this feeling. Well, the reason why is because Thomas Frank left Tony out of the squad and said something's happening with him, and that's why he wasn't in the squad. So for Brentford today against Palace, and I just have this feeling that we're going to get Tony on the cheap.
No. Did you not? I read this earlier today that apparently when Tony met Arteta was done. He's like, nope, not happening. I don't know whether or not when they had like a meeting and they met, Arteta didn't like him for whatever reason. And it might be, Arteta has very high caliber and high bar for the players of which they present themselves. There's a lot of talk about how, we saw in the summer Martin Ødegaard and Havertz going on holiday together, being very, very good boys with their partners. That's the type of player that Arteta wants at the club, and the kind of way that they represent themselves and exude a bit of class. And maybe there's just elements to Tony that he doesn't think aligns with his standards, Foggin standards.
Got to meet the Foggin standards, guys.
Yeah, maybe though, Jay. Like I say, I think you've always had a bit of a soft spot for Tony, so I think there's maybe
I mean, he's not been as potent since his return from the ban, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it's not. It doesn't bother me if we don't get him. I'd rather have a winger anyway. But the only winger I want is Matoma. Really, I think he's a no-brainer to go somewhere, to a bigger club.
Here's one that you're going to hate if I say it, and this one won't happen either. Kulusevski.
I don't really rate him.
He was poor last season, but I think he looked quite explosive and quite a potent winger.
Is he back at Spurs, or because he was on loan?
Yeah, he's
right?
at Spurs. No, he's at Spurs. I think they signed him on a full deal.
Oh, okay. Well, he's not coming anyway. He's at Spurs.
I know, but he's 24. Right age profile. Right type of player.
Rafinha or Coman.
Yeah. Like I say, the only way that any of these things happen, like the strike, Isaac would be the striker I'd actually want to get, but that's not going to happen. It's if the opportunity presents itself. I think if there's an opportunity in the market, we'll do it. If not, we won't.
Edu said we're not done yet, and we should be excited and patient.
Yeah, nothing like that to whet the appetite of Arsenal fans. We're not ones to get overexcited about things like that.
What's the date? Date's 18th. So was there 13 days left? There's less than 2 weeks. Hang on. So transfer deadline day is a Saturday night in 2 weeks' time.
It might be earlier. I'm going to quickly look it up now.
Can't be a Saturday.
It is August the 30th at 11 o'clock.
So that's Friday.
It's my birthday, yeah.
Ah.
Might get a good birthday present from Arsenal. Let's see.
Yeah. Well, you'll be in IB first, so you can party it
I will be. Yeah.
I'll do a transfer deadline day podcast by myself.
Yeah, I could do it from the club dance floor, Jace, maybe. Whoop, whoop.
You'll be at the all-day beach club.
No, I'll be at the all-inclusive. Right. Well, thank you very much for joining us on this lovely Sunday evening. Talking about Arsenal 2, Wolves 0. We are joint top of the league, of course, after the first game of the season. We will see where we join you next week. We're not actually, no. Well, we could be.
Brighton are top of the league, mate.
Yeah, but it's not ended. So technically, we're all joined. We got Villa on Saturday. I'll be flying out to Ibiza, so I'm not too sure how this is going to work. It'll either be Jason. I'm sure we can figure out something, but we'll be back again probably to talk about some of those games coming up on the horizon, whether it's Villa, whether it's Spurs, City, Brighton, and we will see you talking about those games then. If you are new, like I said, to the channel, please do give the video a like, give the channel a subscribe, do leave a comment what you thought of the Arsenal Wolves game, and if they want to listen to this and not watch it, Jace, what should they be doing?
Podcast provider of choice. If you go on there, search for Rip Roaring Reds or on Spotify or on Apple, give us a download, subscribe, so you get all of the latest episodes in your podcast app when we push them through there. Give us a rating. We'd love 5 stars. Gets the reviews up. 5 stars, no less. As Grev will be flying back from Ibiza to knock on your door and politely ask why.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, give us a subscribe.
Yeah, cool. And we'll be back again very, very soon to talk about Arsenal. Until then, thank you very much. Enjoy your week.
Cheers, guys.
Come on, you!